Well, it looks like winter's upon us. It's not officially here, but it's getting close. It's cooler outside, and we're starting to think about the holidays. I think about Christmas and many of the other holidays around this time of year. One of the things that's really fabulous to do is do a redo of your balcony or your front entry. And I love the idea of doing a potted tree and decorating with the natural elements that you can find in your garden, or you can find at the garden center, of course, and making something beautiful that's natural and really brings nature to you. I'm Scott from GardenWorks. Show you how I do it and some of my favorite things. One of the initial things you want to do is pick a beautiful pot, something that you think matches the color scheme you might end up with. We got a beautiful pot, red pot that we use, so that's perfect for the holidays. And there are lots of different trees that you can use for putting on your porch. You might want to plant them in the ground a couple years later, but you can have them as a potted tree for quite a while. Dwarfer varieties you could have as a potted tree for longer. This is actually a Douglas Fir, so it's going to go in the ground and you're going to have to give it lots of space after a couple years, but it can grow in a pot for a couple years quite easily. My aunt and uncle have one that's been in a pot for very many years actually, so you can even do that if you want. So after you found a beautiful pot, I just want to show you some of the great things that you can use to decorate it that are all natural things that you can find in your garden or that have been harvested for you if you don't have the garden space. So I've got, well, we just call it sparkleberry or ilex. It's a deciduous holly so it drops all its leaves and you end up with just beautiful berries, and they really show up well. I've also got here, this is a variegated Oregonia, which is really popular at Christmas time, and has that bright variegated foliage. It's an evergreen. You can also use variegated boxwood, works just as well for a different color. I've got lotus pods, which are something would have been imported. They're actually the pods from the lotus that's a water plant in tropical climates. Down here in the bottom I've got some skimia, which I can find that in my garden, and it's got beautiful red flower buds, I guess, really, that are very persistent, last all year. And with any of the stuff that you harvest from your garden or from the landscape, you just be judicious about how you do that. A little bit here or there and you don't even notice it's gone, so you can still enjoy the berries or the flower buds on the plant through the winter in the garden as well. Another couple of things, I've got evergreen magnolia from our tree out back, lots of that, and it's great. It's got this fuzzy sort of indumentum on the bottom of the leaves that looks really attractive as well. And then a few odds and ends that are fun this is some Intola balls that have been dyed, and they're kind of fun. I don't know if I'll use them. They're on the ground now. And then mixed in with that, I now have, this is a heavenly bamboo or Nandina, and it's not really a bamboo, but we can get into that another time. It does produce lots of these red berries that are quite persistent on the plant, and so they're fun in there too. So the approach would be to just try and space things around. You could also put lights on the tree. I'm not going to do that today because we're going to keep it natural. And what I think I'm going to do is, on my balcony with this, is uplight it with a couple of little spots. I'm going to like that better than putting the twinkly lights on it or whatever. So we'll get started putting a bunch of these in here and see how it turns out. This has turned out really nicely, I think. We added in some incense cedar at the bottom that I hadn't talked about, and that's just to get something drooping over the edge of the pot. We made a magnolia skirt, which is really great. And then the only thing we decided not to do something with it, like put a tree topper on it. We've got a little bird that we put on there, just as it's the only thing that's not natural on this tree. But it's really cute, and we tried to train a bird to stay there. It wouldn't stay, so we used the artificial one. Otherwise, all these things are natural. A couple of the concepts that are really important that I use as I'm going through it is, well, you put things in, you don't put everything in one spot. So you try and space it out so that it's balanced, not symmetrical, but balanced, and use enough of something that it has some impact. So if you just put one sprig of something, you don't get the impact. So use a group when it's smaller. With some of the things, you only have to use one. And then try and tell a little bit of a story or draw the eye around. I did that with the lotus pods. They draw through the tree. So those are some of the ideas. This will last really, really well, right through to the new year and beyond. Outdoors, just likes the cool temperatures that are outside are great. And then you can mist it every once in a while if it gets dry, because some of the things will dry out. Nothing's in water except the trees are potted still, and as a living tree you'll have for years. So a little bit of misting will keep things moister, and it should be really fabulous. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this and you don't follow us already, follow us on YouTube, and we'll do some more fun things for you next time.